The Square Ball Podcast.
Hiya, welcome to the show. This is brought to you by Levi Solicitors. You will find it in YouTube and in your podcast app as well. Michael, I see you hastily typing something on your keyboard. Is that levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball by any chance?
Well, I don't want the discount. I just want to learn about their services. So I've not done the full URL.
Right.
But yeah, I just have to have a little read about some of the stuff they do. If you want to do the same with a discount, yeah, you can. And what do you want? Residential conveyancing.
That's what I was after, yeah.
There you go, first top of the list. Yep. Nice one. Tick it off. Rob, lasting powers of attorney?
I'd love to know about that, yes.
Well, speak to them because
You've not finished the URL.
Because I'm not done.
How do you feel about disputes? Are you still full of love at this time of year, or do you like getting into a dispute still, like shouting over your garden fence?
There's no disputes in Leeds at this point, is there? Give it a month, though. There'll be plenty.
Well, as this says, getting into a dispute can be very stressful, and Levi's dispute resolution team, headed up by Ed, who's a Leeds fan, big Leeds fan is Ed, can help. Whether you have a boundary issue with your neighbour, a company dispute, a claim against a professional, or even an inheritance dispute, Levi Solicitors can help you resolve it. Do you and your neighbours, do you argue about the acres?
Of course, yeah.
Out there in
the disputed...
The lead of Pontefract.
The disputed paddock in the middle.
levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for a 10% discount on their full range of services, off your legal fees. That one, full details and terms on the website. You'll find the link in the episode description as well. Rob's here as well as we continue to bask in the wake. Is it the wake of promotion now? As the wave,
the glory of promotion.
I mean, when I say wake, I don't mean a wake as in a funeral. I mean like as in the wake of a surf wave, a wave. Like it's just it's crashed on the shore. We had a party on Monday, and now it's just like the wake of a boat.
Yeah, I wish my head felt like that on the Tuesday morning. Was it? God, it all feels
the week's
blur, doesn't it?
The week's all got wrong.
Yeah, I still haven't reintegrated into normal society yet, and I don't think I will for another couple of weeks.
Not been to Aldi yet?
Nope.
I went to Aldi yesterday. Felt good.
Yeah.
Felt good. Just got a few bits.
What'd you get?
Just something for tea yesterday because there's really nothing in the house because I've been non-functioning for quite a period of time.
Stocking up on paracetamol, were you?
Exactly. But no, I just got a few basic bits.
Yeah. So what's going to be in this show is we're going to preview the Bristol game in a little bit. We're going to split this off into two halves. You won't notice the join. Obviously, there'll be a little blip in the middle, but we're going to record the second half after Farke's press conference in a bit. But in the meantime, I think it's just about wrapping up the general mood of things. And yeah, we're still promoted. Have you noticed that, by the way?
Yep.
Went up.
Good, isn't it?
Still up. That's good. We've had a bit of an update on stadium stuff. We know that things are going to be progressing there. Some little early transfer links starting to drip out. And Daniel Farke's getting fired, so that's good. Well done, everyone.
This is your first time on a show in a while, isn't it, Rob?
It is, yes.
Where were we last time you were on?
People were asking after you. They were getting worried about you.
I'm not too sure. I remember, so I boarded a flight to Australia pretty much bang on full-time at Luton. Which I was very relieved about because I didn't know how I felt about that result. And I thought, brilliant, I can just ignore all the post-match angst, which I'm sure there were a lot of. And then, lots of staying up late or getting up early to watch games in Australia, and then was back in England on Sunday, just in time, at the game on Monday, which was all kind of strange, I guess. Amazing and strange. And
jet-lagged?
Not yet. I'd slept quite well on Sunday, and then it was into town to watch the Burnley Sheffield United game. And just that moment at the full-time whistle there, which you were obviously live streaming, but just being in a bar surrounded by friends and other Leeds fans and jumping around and singing and screaming in strangers' faces. It was everything I wanted and everything that we missed out on in 2020. And then, it was back to Ellen Road, got a taxi to Holbeck, was walking along the way to the ground, and it was just taxis playing Matching On Together, car horns beeping. Got to the end of Holbeck Moor and got a load of cans in, and then someone just emerged on their own out of the tunnel at the end of Holbeck Moor and just went, "Lads, which way's the off licence?" Like, yes, that's the moment I wanted.
Yeah.
And then, down to Ellen Road, was hanging out there for a bit, which was great. It's like a spectacle. And it was leaving Ellen Road where I was like, fuck, I'm levered here. I need to go home. So I went to bed and woke up 2 hours later with jet lag in the midst of an absolute crippling hangover, which was all completely worth it.
Dear Lord.
Did you feel like it was done at Ellen Road after that game? Because I think you obviously can't fail to be optimistic after a 6-0 win, but I felt like it was done. I didn't think Sheffield United had it in them at that point.
I couldn't see Sheffield United winning.
And I thought, if nothing else, having seen that, I actually think we'll get the points ourselves there anyway.
Yeah, it was quite funny though, because I think you mentioned it on one of the podcasts, but I was really confident going into that game. I think I said to you guys before when we were in the office, I think this is going to be like the Norwich playoff final second leg. I just think we're going to batter them. And I'd put a bet on Pirro to score and Leeds to win 4-0. I never expected after 25 minutes to be trying to cash out on that bet. It was just bizarre. And it was like you said, the crowd in Ellen Road didn't really know how to react when like the 4th, 5th, 6th went in. It was like, is this really happening? And then it was funny at the end when all the stewards came on to line the outskirts of the pitch. And it's like, well, from like 25 minutes, everyone was just thinking about that evening and the Burnley Sheffield United game. It's like, lads, we're not going on the pitch right now anyway, because there's something still to come.
Now, Monday might be a different story if Burnley were to lose. I don't know. Although I feel like the rush of the moment is going up. I feel like the actual winning it, because even though it won't mathematically be done, so we don't get the trophy, the big bit is done, isn't it, with promotion? This will be more like everyone will just be in the stands celebrating and stuff, and it'll hopefully just be a nice end to the season. I guess you hope we don't just go out with a bit of a whimper at the end of it, but I don't think we will. I feel like there's now a freedom to just enjoy yourselves and play and not worry too much about it. Yeah.
The important bit was getting it over the line. And I think back to, compare it back to 2020 and, bursting into tears when Huddersfield scored their second. Emil Smith-Rowe scored against West Brom. And we then sealed the title on the Saturday, wasn't it? It was the Brentford went to Stoke, am I right in thinking that? And they lost there.
God, I can't remember. Right? Yeah, I can't remember the other games.
I think it was. Yeah, it was definitely. I can remember red seats, but kind of going, we've done it. This is the cherry on the icing on the cake. But the moment, the big outpouring was the moment that we sealed promotion, because I suppose at the end of the day that is the task at hand, isn't it? It's to get out of the division, and then the trophy at the end is a nice added extra, which I really really want. But if we don't get, I've had my nice moment. I don't mind.
I do now really want it, because I know there's going to be a bus parade regardless. And that you do get that poxy little second place trophy, don't you? But it would feel a touch embarrassing to be showing that. I still think the promotion bit is worth celebrating, but having to be like, hey, we got this, it's quite new, because they decided you needed one because you get one for the playoffs, so you need one for second.
I did say to some mates, I think on Tuesday, that if we get 100 points and score 100 goals, there should be a rule that we never have to play in the Championship again. We just completed it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, it's like passing a checkpoint on a game.
Yeah, exactly.
It just brings you back to the Premier League.
I like that.
Someone did point out that I think that means Newcastle can never do it. But I was like, well, just make them go play in Saudi Arabia, like they clearly want to.
Yeah. So Monday should be good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the atmosphere is like inside Ellen Road. I think it'll be a little bit like, I don't know. It'll be celebratory, I suppose, obviously, which is a very obvious thing to say. But I mean, like there's kind of a weirdness, wasn't there, with the 6-0 on Monday, in that it was a huge outpouring. As you say, it just sort of ebbed away when everyone realised we'd done it. And I don't know about you, but I felt on an emotional level like we'd probably done the hardest bit at Oxford. And I had no doubt, similarly, we were going to sweep Stoke aside.
Yeah, grinding out the remaining games, it always felt like Oxford with their long throws and generally more League One-y kind of style, which is maybe unfair on them. It always felt like that was the one we were in a bit of danger with.
I think, obviously, following it from the other side of the world at that point, it was the Preston game for me. I think it was like...
Was that like the Barnsley game, do you think?
Well, it was, but it wasn't, because we battered them. Yeah, that should have been 6-1. But hearing the crowd reaction and hearing you lads talk about it afterwards, that was the game where I was like, fuck, I really wish I was there, actually. And I think just that relief and also confidence coming off the back of that, it was at that point, and also obviously Sheffield United fucking it up hilariously. It was like, it's happening, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the Sheffield United aspect of this it can't be overlooked, can it? Because, as you say, you disappear off on a plane not knowing that Sheffield United are about to lose and indeed go on to lose another few times in the coming weeks and completely gift it to us. But like, it was... Yeah,
it's also about staying the course, though. You've got to remember that from a Leeds perspective. We've won 4 on the spin now.
Yeah, and some of them have felt tough, like the Middlesbrough game as well. Within this, where we have the 2 disallowed goals, and that felt like a really big night as well, because it would have been very it would have felt very Leedsy to just throw that away in the last minute. They equalise. We come off it thinking, God, we should have been 3 up here, or at least 2 up if you're going to go down the route of the second one doesn't happen if the first one doesn't. But, we've had perfectly good goals disallowed, and now we've ended up not winning.
I think just looking back down the list of results now, this is possibly why it got so stressful towards the end, and in particular around the Swansea game, because it descended into a grind. I think probably the final quarter of the season, like the West Brom game where we dropped points. That was a little bit of a grind. Losing to Portsmouth, we should have probably won that. We had enough chances to win that, but that was a grind. We beat Millwall easily enough, but QPR away, bit of a grind. Swansea was a lot harder than it needed to be. Luton away, very attritional. Middlesbrough away, as you say, was a really, really tough game that we should have been out of sight, but couldn't. So I had to properly dig in at the end. Preston was more of an emotional grind towards the end, even though we were completely dominant. And then again, Oxford. And then suddenly, maybe that's why Monday caught us against Stoke a little bit by surprise, because it was so easy and so much fun, and it was very reminiscent of games earlier in the season, like the 7-0 against Cardiff, but so many others before, like 4-0 against Oxford, and there were plenty of wins to nil further back in the season, like 3-0 against Plymouth in November, for example.
I know you inevitably draw parallels with old periods as well, of like the last promotion, but when we had that bad patch through January and coming off the Forest game and the Brentford game, we just scraped a few wins. We got a few 1-0s in a row, and then we went and battered Hull, and that felt a bit like just a reset on it all. It was like we had to just drag out some wins, maybe nothing like spectacular in them, but then it gives you the freedom. And after that, like after the Hull game, and then we're into Luke Ayling scoring, and by the point Luke Ayling scores against Huddersfield, people are in basically the same mindset they were at the weekend, where you're like, this is on. I know it was much earlier in the season, much more time to mess it up. But at that point, you think, no, we're in a complete flow state here. Like we look like we can just take teams apart.
That's the perfect description, flow state. Yeah, completely.
It's been 2 years of a grind though. Like they've had to be absolutely relentless. Like if we win our next 2 games, we will have got 190 points over 2 seasons, which is phenomenal, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And it also shows the margin for error has been so small. And I think whatever people say about the talent in our squad and the wage budget and all that crap, it's like it's still fucking really hard.
You've still got to do it.
Exactly. And I think it's been my one fear all season, is that when it comes, people won't necessarily appreciate just how hard it's been. And then you look at Lee Brown's got an amazing photo of Joe Rodon at full time on Monday.
Is that the one that's on the
match report? Yeah,
it's on the match report.
And he just looks fucked. Like he looks exhausted. He looks so relieved. He's celebrating, but he just looks like, thank God we are nearly there. And I just think I really hope on Monday it's going to be really joyous. And I'm really, really, really pleased for the players that they can just enjoy it now. Because, look at the scar on Dan James's head from last season's playoff final. It's been fucking hard work.
And that was the lovely thing about seeing them on the steps on Monday. Just seeing a load of young lads who have worked really, really hard, just having fun and celebrating and just being young men, because it's very easy to dehumanize them when they are on the football pitch.
Joe Rodon's a very human, very, very human,
very relatable.
But do you know what I mean? Like, because they're carrying your own personal hopes, the hopes of tens of thousands of people in that stadium. You sometimes forget that they're just young men.
Yeah.
And I was putting in the match report as well, like the Howard Wilkinson team that went up, and 2 years later they're the best team in England. But Gordon Strachan, he looks back on the day when he scored that brilliant goal against Leicester and Leeds were right on the verge, and he says he looked almost skeletal and he was just completely spent. And then you look at the League One team that got promoted, half of that team went to play in the Premier League. Like, it was a phenomenally talented team, but we completely nearly blew it, and it took a agonising last day against Bristol Rovers, and Michael Doyle was on the pitch crying when Jermaine Beckford's winner went in, just the sheer relief of it. And
we had Tanaka crying this year.
Well, exactly, so it's hard work. It takes an awful lot to get promoted, and we should be really proud and celebrate this team because they've done ridiculously well for 2 years, just constant slog.
Yeah, and thinking about someone like Rodon as well, like his journey through kind of being a championship player, getting to the Premier League, it not really working out, and having not played all that much, he's going to come in and play, because he barely missed a game last season, did he? I don't think he's missed any this season in the league.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to almost be like Matt Click levels of just never gets a rest. So the relief he must feel having given everything to this, he's been on the end of about 1,000 head injuries in the past in the past year as well.
But there's kind of an existential thing that you're referring to there as well, having found a home. You know, so he's been. I suppose that there's been a little bit of career drift. Is that fair to say?
Same with a lot of those players.
Spursy things.
Ampadu was relegated 3 years in a row on different loans. Comes to Leeds, loses a playoff final with Leeds and with Wales. Like, he's just been a loser for 4 years, and now he's a captain. He's still pretty young, and it's like, right, lead this massive club out of this division. And then like Dan James, the way he's kind of flitted about, even while he's been at Leeds. Sam Byram, his career's been decimated by injuries, and like it's just, there's loads of romance in this team, and I think that's the thing that we all thought might have been lacking. And actually, if you look at it, there's loads of it there.
It's very human.
I feel like we've not even spoken about Sam Byram in all of the promotion stuff. Yeah. But yeah, nice to see him. He deserved a better Leeds the first time around, didn't he?
Yeah.
You sometimes think that with players, don't you? I thought when Sol Bamba died, weirdly enough, like he should have been at Leeds when we were good, because you saw him going to Cardiff and getting promoted and doing all that stuff, and he'd have been a great person to have. Like, you can imagine him on the steps having like the time of his life, can't you? And it's nice that Sam Byram got that chance eventually. It took a fair time for him to get it.
And Harry Gray is absolutely spoiled rotten, isn't he? So he's 20 minutes now, the time of his life.
And there's another one in the pipeline, said Eddie, didn't he, on the BBC podcast?
Yeah.
Don't go to bed just yet.
Oh, really?
There's another one, very young still, but as Eddie said, he can play, which I'm looking forward to
They all
seeing.
can. Ridiculous.
Yeah. It must be in the genes, mustn't it?
It's a ludicrous production line.
Genetic
but
soup.
long way to continue.
So, the Farke sacking thing has, I wouldn't go as far as to suggest it's taken the shine off any of it, but it's unhelpful, isn't it? In terms of...
It's mean-spirited to say it now as well.
Yeah.
Like, for it to be published now, I mean, there's part of me thinks, well, obviously it would be discussed, because you'd think they'd discuss
everything, every
single aspect of it. You know, they're probably discussing like, well, you know, is Altanaka good enough for the Premier League? Do we need to replace him? Should we cash in on Joe Rodon now? Like, people who've been absolute mainstays of the team, probably everything's slightly up for discussion, but not now. Bloody hell.
The time of it is absolutely disgusting, I think, as a way of treating the guy who, you know, I talk about all that hard work of the players for 2 years. He has been exactly the same, and he has been the calmest, most sensible, most reassuring presence at Ellen Road for 2 years. And I think whatever you think of him as a manager or whatever, I would still trust him in terms of his football decisions more than any other person at Ellen Road right now. And just to, however it was done, whether, like I do lean on the side of it was a bit of a putting him back in his place after a few pointed comments from him over the last few months. But just start doing now. It's just shit. Like, it's really poor. And I actually think the 49ers' strength is that they don't say anything. They shut up and let the work do its talking. It's like, well, you've done the good bit now, so shut up.
I mean, that's assuming something has come from the club, I suppose, because there's
the timing. I mean,
there's a reasonable chance that this is journalists doing it in the same way as we're going to be linked. You were just saying before we recorded, we're linked with Decore now. That's just probably an easy link, because you go Premier League experience, out of contract. Yeah. Leeds will need some of that. You might go there. The same way as journalists will have had this ready for ages, going, well, if Leeds go up, Farke's Premier League record's terrible. Yeah. They're going to have to look at that.
I hope it's just that. And it was just somebody at the Mail being a dickhead. It's just the timing felt...
It wouldn't be out of character for the Mail.
It's Mike Keegan at the Mail, isn't it? Who wrote the nauseating PR piece for the 49ers 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'd be interested to know just how close his links to the 49ers are.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I've sort of softened on Farke as well through the season, because there's points where I've thought, we probably need better than this if we go up. But then, having actually looked at the recruitment stuff that Norwich did when he was promoted, the first season they spent almost nothing, like a couple of £1 million. The second time they did spend more, but they also sold Buendia and then spread it around on some slightly more speculative younger players who worked out a bit in some cases, in other cases not. But it didn't look in either case like a team that was attempting to stay up. It looked like they were accepting the fact you bounce up and down.
I mean, do you have genuine sort of footballing tactical fears about Farke, or perhaps see a ceiling there that you think we probably need to go higher than? Because I do. I don't mind saying that I do, but now's not the time.
And also,
just like, can we just not enjoy the moment?
And also, some of the fears are, you watch, for example, Carl Darlow taking ages to kick a ball upfield in the few games he's been in, and you think, oh, well, a faster striker's going to get there, and that's going to be a problem for us. Or you look at, we've seen Firpo in the Premier League, and you go, oh, well, it's fine going forward all you want in the Championship, but if it's Mo Salah running at him. We know he struggles with it.
Yeah.
But things change.
And also
buy other players.
As much as we're crowing about being in the Premier League, we're not there yet. That's a few months away. And I know that work is going on behind the scenes to get us ready for that. They said so, the statement from Morata on the website. But come on, can't we just live in the here and now for a bit and just bask in the joy for a bit and let Farke have his moment, regardless of how this turns out? We all know what happens to Premier League managers. If we have one win in 8 or whatever in autumn, it won't look pretty for him. But that's a future problem, not a now problem.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing they might think is, well,
publicly anyway,
he went down with Norwich, bounced them straight back up. Maybe they accept that's part of the bargain. I've no idea. Given the probability of going down when you come up, maybe they think, well, you strengthen in general. You have a manager in place who can do it again, and you accept that it's probable that you'd come back up. You
were saying, Rob, weren't you? Sorry, that there's been a slight readjustment of position though today, Friday, as we speak. That Berran's reporting at the Athletic that they're minded more to stay with him than not, but.
Yeah, which, I mean, still suggests it's not exactly definitive, is it? And I think that was part of the problem when the Mail story broke. It sounded like the club had a chance to kind of refute that story and just said no comment. And it's hard to kind of get it all out here. Like, there's lots of different strands to this. And the fact of the matter is that it's almost certain that Farke will get sacked by Leeds at some point.
Because all managers do.
Exactly, yeah. And in the Premier League next season, basically, unless we finish in the top half, there will come a time where we lose 4 or 5 games, maybe even more on the bounce. And I suspect that is probably the time, if he is still here at that point, that he will get sacked. So that makes me think, well, if they do have this grand big plan of a certain manager to come in and he's the future, there is a discussion there to be had of, do they do it now? But I think
and recruit for that manager.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah, like, don't spend the summer signing a load of players for Farke if you're just going to sack him in September. But I think I don't want to hear this discussion now. We've just got promoted. I don't care. And also the thing in the story that I think really shone a light on the 49ers, if it is true, and if it has come from the 49ers, is that they don't have a manager lined up who they think is the big grand plan. The whole story is like, they might sack him, but they don't really know who to get him. The ones like Jose Mourinho, which is just fucking mental. And the other thing that shone out from that story was, who is the guy that appoints the manager? Who's the guy that identifies who the next manager is? Because Steinson's left, he's working for Red Bull, he's in Berran Cross's story today. It's like, no, he is talking with managers around Europe, but that's for the Rangers job. And it's like, well, who's the guy that's like sorting out who's going to play for us next year, who's going to be the manager? Because the 49ers are busy trying to take over Rangers as well.
Yeah, Kinnear's on the way out.
Steinson's doing that job. Kinnear's on the way out. Nick Hammond, who's been signing a lot of the players as a consultant.
I was going to say, I think he's been at arm's length for quite some time now. I think
he was heavily involved last summer, wasn't he?
I think that was possibly slightly more arm's length. Yeah, you might be going back further, but yeah.
So yeah,
a lot of cooks.
Yeah, and you saw in Berran's inside promotion story that I think there has been a bit of a lack of joined up thinking, or maybe some clashes between what like the recruitment team and what that setup is and what Farke has wanted, and it's not always mirrored each other. But then I also think that's probably healthy. I think you need that, and I think that's probably a lot more common than we expect in football.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we shall see, but we've got a title to win.
Exactly. Let's do that. That sounds a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. These discussions can be had in a bit, but it's really unfair on Farke to have this in the background, I think.
Yeah, massively.
You just feel... And I would hope that he's shown a bit of love on Monday as well.
Yeah, I think he will, because all this. There was that was happening after Stoke as well.
But with this in the background, you'd like to think people will be like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
Let the man enjoy himself.
Let him be a fire beast.
Let him be a fire beast. Yeah, exactly. Let him do it all over the pitch if he wants.
I hope he comes out on Monday absolutely levered, sipping from a bottle of champagne.
Glugging, never mind sipping. Glugging. Yes, some stadium updates. The council agreed on Wednesday that they would sell the land around Ellen Road. So basically the bit outside the Kop, the bit outside the West Stand, will go to the club to enable them to expand. And then basically everything else in this portion of land, with the exception of the ice rink, which is right over by the railway line, and the industrial units right by the motorway junction on the other side, on the east side of the ground, will go to Pete Lowe's family.
Yeah. And the bit, I mean, they might try and buy that as well.
And that includes Lowfields Road itself, all the park and ride, and the car parks on the other side of Ellen Road as well.
And I guess there's a chance they try to buy those industrial units, but they are, I guess, privately owned, so the council can't necessarily just decide fine.
I have looked at them before on the land registry, and I can't remember who the owner of them is.
Yeah, because they are sort of weirdly out of place, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, I'd sort of in
like
my head.
some little warehousey units right next to a football stadium.
It makes sense having them next to a motorway junction for distribution purposes, but if there's like a master plan for the area, do they maybe look at compulsory purchase or something like that, and then sell them? But
potentially,
what's happening to the tunnel? Where are you going to be, Michael? That'll
remain. So the rest of the sellers,
the boundary will be the entrance to the tunnel. So presumably, I think because it's a motorway that goes over the top, the highways agency would run the footings for it. Like the tunnel and the footings will be the responsibility of the highways agency who run the motorways.
And I do call myself the highwayman.
Is that right?
So I'm thankfully I'm fine to be under there.
That's where you tether your horse, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So as long as you're tucked in under the tunnel and not on Pete Lowe's land, he won't have to release. I sort of imagine him releasing the dogs, releasing the hounds, like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons. If you step the wrong side of the line.
Yeah, but you do wonder how this is all going to look in 10 years. The answer might, of course, be absolutely no different because we've seen many a master plan, haven't we, over the years of there's going to be this big arena built on a new West Ham with a big arena on the back, and there's going to be a casino here, and there's going to be a hotel here, and none of it's happened. It feels more likely to happen this time than previous times, just because the amount of money sloshing around in football seems absurd.
And the amount of money that's already been spent, I think, on just devising these plans, basically, and slowly progressing them.
Yeah. And it seems to be a definitive commitment. What I would say is there's a really interesting parallel that runs back to Bates and Harvey, your favourite fella in the Wrexham documentary, Michael. They attempted, because I made a freedom of information request to Leeds City Council when they were in charge. What have been your discussions about Ellen Road with Leeds United and the land around it? And they sent me everything. And essentially, Leeds United tried to do a discounted land grab on the land that is being sold to the club now. The council said, but, all fine and well, you accepted it. But Harvey made the case for it, saying you should want to sell that to us at a discount, was the thrust of it in the emails.
Part of the other...
And I know exactly what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, tell us who owns it then.
Yeah, that was another part of the issue. It's like, why don't you let an offshore company buy this?
Yeah. And that was exactly what the council said. It's like, sorry, you can fuck off.
Sounds so unlike Ken Bates to try and get a cheap deal on a bit of land.
But it goes to show the work that's been done, and it started, going way. Radrazani, Cellino. Cellino's just going to Cellino, isn't he? But going back to the Radrazani ownership, where they sought to repair relationships with the council, and therefore it has helped to pave the way to this. And I know that the business community wanted nothing to do with Leeds United when Bates was around. They just weren't interested because, Bates is going to Bates. Because
a lot of people ended up poorer.
Yeah,
as a result of dealings with Bates, didn't they, over the years?
But it's so important to harness all this stuff. We don't see it as supporters, but to have the club, the fans, and the wider city all travelling in not necessarily always exactly the same direction, because different people have different priorities in this. But for when your goals align, i.e. get the club up and promote it and make the area look better.
It stands to reason that the city would want Ellen Road to be bigger and Leeds to be more successful, because it is another 16,000 people spending money in the city every week, and people travelling in, and the boost it can give tourism and the boost it can give infrastructure. And if it's done right, it's absolutely obvious that this would be the case. But around that time, that's when the council were also who also did the last minute letter to the council asking them to buy Thorpe Arch for an unknown party, wasn't it?
Yeah. And same response.
Yeah.
Who we're buying it for?
Just this. Oh, so you hate Leeds United, do you?
Yeah.
Right, fine. Well, that's your loss.
Good. We didn't want you to buy it anyway.
No one talks about Thorpe Arch anymore, do they?
No.
Didn't Kinnear say that they'd come to an agreement, but it was kind of when he was on here before and said it's confidential. So so there's an arrangement.
It was a thing for ages, wasn't it? Of are we going to buy it back? It cost us however much a season to rent it, or are we just now swimming in filthy Premier League money? And we're like, that's $2 million a year, but what's that?
It's better than giving it to Weston McKennie, so I'm fine with
that. Right, so we will. I think with everything covered there, we'll break off now. Briefly, we'll await Farke, whose press conference is in about 45 minutes as we record this.
Didn't expect him to come out shirtless, but that was it was a nice touch.
Those new tattoos, very good. Very good. But you will just hear a quick blip in a second, and then we'll be back with some post-presser analysis ahead of the Bristol Rovers game. Rovers?
City. Don't make me go back to play Bristol Rovers.
It's because I've got promotion on
You
the
have
brain.
indeed.
We'll speak to you in a second. Right, well, we're into part 2 now. Then the Fire Beast has spoken. He acknowledged his Fire Beast activities on Monday.
Played him right down, I reckon.
Yeah. But the drove home line.
He had 2 beers.
A couple of beers and some water. No, you didn't.
Was driven home, you would hope.
Yes. Speaking of Fire Beast, we've got a Fire Beast mug that is on pre-order in the shop. It's getting printed as we speak. We've got Leeds Scum of Back merch on the way. We've got Peacock's promotion T-shirts. We've got the 75 retro stuff we've done with Admiral that you've got on if you're on the video version, Rob, which looks absolutely glorious. And beer.
And beer. You don't buy this directly from us because we're not
licensed,
allowed to sell it.
But you can find that Lowfields Lager. We've teamed up with Kirkstall Brewery. Have a look at lowfieldslager.com. It's a premium Pilsner, did you know?
It's very nice.
It is very good.
I've still not tasted with them because you drank us dry.
Do you want the bit that's been in this can for several days?
I am sort of tempted, but no, I'm all right.
Just to give it a go.
Yeah.
What if we put it in the fridge for 5 minutes?
Yeah, go on then.
All right. You'll find all that at thesquareball.net or have a look at lowfieldslager.com. For that, Fire Beast yet has spoken, and he, as he is wont to do, speaks quite a lot. Some of the key takeaways from it: not listening to any of the noise about his own position. Essentially, put that down to something he expected. It comes with the territory of working at this club, journalists chasing clickbait, so on and so forth. But there's also some stuff about what happened at Norwich, which was, he said he didn't really learn too much, and he backed himself. Almost had to accept relegation as a symptom of not spending money, that the club was prepared to just go down. It was a miracle to get out of the Championship as they did. It would have been a miracle to stay up. So they just kind of wrote off the possibility. So off the back of that, he was talking about proper budget. What I found interesting is he's mentioned that several times. He touched on it a few times, proper budget, which perhaps just shines a light on his thinking a little bit.
I mean, he's right to. He was basically just saying, I never had a chance. So what did you expect?
And I feel like the noise about Leeds spending a decent wedge going into next season, kind of heard it, maybe not necessarily on the record all the time, but there's been noises of that there will be money to spend. So, and there needs to be money to spend because we've earned a lot in getting promoted, and we have had to cut our cloth accordingly over the last 2 seasons due to PSR and all that boring stuff.
Which he mentioned, I would say, in that he touched on it in there very briefly in passing, that there's been financial pressure, Rob.
And we know that he wanted to sign players in January, which he has made clear a number of times, and that wasn't done. So you think that would be that was a kind of look forward to this summer as well. So yeah, I mean, he's always backed himself, hasn't he? Like throughout this last 2 years, nobody's been more confident in Daniel Farke than Daniel Farke himself. So I don't think there was a great deal of new stuff in there. I was interested to hear that he was talking about there will have to be a adaptation of his tactics and the football we play next season, which I think will reassure a lot of people, I think, because there is that perception of Farke that he is wedded to this one style of football and that's all he can do. And I did like some of his quotes in there about how, we will have to change things, but we will still have to have a plan when we have the ball, which is maybe what we lacked when we were getting relegated under Jesse Marsh, which I would agree with. And I also think, I've said it before, I think, but going back to the kind of the problems people have had with the football over the last 2 years, I think a lot of that has been down to the disparity of the Championship and how teams just don't come to Ellen Road and actually try and play football, really. So I think actually games as a spectacle should be better next season, as we are getting 5-0 hidings.
I think as well, a lot of the complaints about the style actually originate in last season and not this season. I think we'd only ever seen this season, I don't think there'd have been anything to grumble about, really. No. Not in a major way. Obviously, you go through dips in form and maybe certain games things don't work. But the criticism of it being too side to side and a bit ploddy and knocking it around the back, I think mainly originated in last season.
Do you know what? And I would even go so far as to say some of that originated in central midfield. And I don't want to pin it all on Glenn Kamara, but he is possibly a good symbol of that. The fact that they traded him, that they took the chance to move him out and essentially upgrade him and got a little bit of a PSR profit out of him. And then you bring in Rothwell, who's very, very progressive, as we've discussed many, many times this season, picks up the ball, runs with it. And then Tanaka as well, who is a fantastic passer, keeps things moving. And it feels like we've gone upper level midfield wise this season. I don't know about you.
I think the difference as well has been that in having more recognised fullbacks, because I know we had Byram for a good portion of last year as well, but he was obviously inverted on that side. And then you had Archie Gray, who was playing his very first professional games out of position at right back, so he didn't have the same force from the back there. So maybe if we were knocking it around the back and into midfield, it's because there wasn't the confidence in the fullbacks to push on as well.
I was going to say, when you factor in late season Bogle, how Bogle's grown into his role now. And again, that is not a slight on Archie Gray, who is obviously an absolutely brilliant
finished
talent.
footballer.
Yeah. But Bogle, at this level at very least, has been there, seen it, done it. And you saw, I think, the very, very best of him towards the end of the season. Whereas, you're playing a teenage midfielder at right back because it's probably better than the alternative.
Joe Rodon just wouldn't pass to Archie Gray. He just wouldn't be able to pass to his right. And at the start of this season, it was very similar, actually. Then I remember there was a game where he suddenly started passing to Jayden Bogle, and it's like he remembered he had a right back. But Bogle's been phenomenal, like the second half of this season. I think this running especially, he's gone like Bill Ayling 2020.
Yeah,
where
really has.
There's been games where he's like dragged us forward. He's been absolutely excellent.
Anything else you took out of it then? I thought it was quite interesting how he basically, obviously, backed himself because he would as a manager, but he drew the example of Graham Potter, and when he was at Norwich, he said, we played Potter Swansea and they absolutely hammered him, did Norwich, and then suddenly everyone off the back of that is talking about Farke being the next big thing, and yet it was Potter who then got the move from Swansea into the Premier League with Brighton, and then when the shoe was on the other foot, Potter's Brighton beat Farke's Norwich when they were up in the Premier League. And what he was sort of saying is you've got to a certain extent, divorce the abilities of the coach away from the league. It's a lot more dependent on squad and players. I suppose it was just another roundabout way of saying we need to put the right resources into the playing staff.
And probably a lesson in sometimes it's right for clubs to move managers on. Sometimes it's right for managers to move on as well when your stock is high. Like if Kieran McKenna had wanted to get a new job at this point last year, he would, I would argue, have been able to go in at a higher level than he would if he was to leave Ipswich this summer. And likewise, Russell Martin's not probably going to even get a top-end championship job now, is he? Because of the way this season's gone. So
I'm sure he will.
Top-end, I don't know. Maybe a newly relegated team picks him up or something.
Well, you see some of the mad decisions that have taken place in the championship this season, and I think you're overestimating the intelligence of some of the decision makers.
Yeah, fair enough. Plymouth would employ him. Yeah. But they're very much down the bottom end.
Farke did touch on that as well when he was talking about his time at Norwich, that he said he stuck around because he felt loyalty to the club to see them through whatever it was that was.
I did wonder if that was a slight dig, if he thinks there's been some internal disloyalty. If he's like, I was loyal.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
Eyebrows. I think he was saying it in the context of like he felt like he knew that they didn't have the resources to stay up, but he felt loyal to stay there when he had the opportunity, as he said at that time, to move on elsewhere. Bundesliga, I don't know if it was other Premier League clubs had expressed interest in him, but yeah, he potentially probably should have moved at that point to avoid, I suppose to end up in the pigeonhole, to avoid ending up with the pigeonhole that he has now to an extent, and has yet to now prove himself beyond that.
Although he did say he wouldn't have taken another championship job, didn't he? That Leeds was the one.
He says a lot of stuff, doesn't he? They go on for a long time, some of these presses. I do start to zone out at some points of it. But the whole point about the resources and going back to all that is that it doesn't matter who the manager of Leeds United is next season. We need to improve the squad, and it's going to take a lot of money. So that doesn't change whether Farke's here or not.
And he's spoken about the activity levels as well. Like they partied until basically, and then recovered until sort of yesterday, Thursday, as we speak. Back at it today, and conversations will take place over the next week, 8 days, about getting things moving. And as we understand it, things are moving in the background.
Sheffield United are playing tonight, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said that to somebody last night. I said,
Don't feel right, does it?
Who are they playing?
They're away at Stoke.
Oh. So it's so nice to think it doesn't matter, does it?
No, to go into a weekend and think, whatever happened, I can have a nice couple of days. But I was really surprised by it as well, because I was still emotionally in Monday.
Yeah.
Like, right, we're back at it. But imagine if it hadn't been settled last week.
I did thought this morning when I was just deleting stuff off the prep sheet, when it was all, if this is the run of the games, and if this game goes here, then that needs to happen. We just don't need to worry about it.
Horrendous to think about, isn't it?
We just need to match Burnley's results, and we've won it.
Speaking of spreadsheets, barely looked at mine since.
But you don't need to, Dan.
Since Monday.
You don't need to.
Actually, truthfully, I barely looked at it since Oxford, because as I said in the first half of this, I sort of emotionally felt that was probably the biggest one we had to overcome.
I was a bit surprised actually at how much Farke almost talked down winning the title, because I thought he'd say no, we've got 2 games to go, we've got to be ultra professional. He was kind of basically just went, come on.
Well,
we've won it. We've done it.
It was a
that
bit
was
of
the main
both.
thing.
I wrote down his actual words. His opening gambit on winning the title was, "We finished the job."
Yeah.
And then I just, in brackets, I put the title doesn't matter. But then actually, he went on to speak more about it and said, I think we deserve it. But equally, if Burnley win it, they would deserve it as well. But he wants it for the players. I think what he was talking about, Rob, was potentially like, because it was the best season in the history of the club, and the goal is promotion, that they've done that bit of it and not to put undue pressure on yourself.
And his line was that, winning the title, he'd done it twice with Norwich and it gave him no advantage in the Premier League. Yeah. But then that was right at the start, and he did change his tune slightly as the presser went on. He started to mention the title a bit more and more. Let's win it though. It'll be really good.
Yeah. It's a really lovely trophy. I think it's the best trophy in English football.
Yeah.
Looks wise.
Not the Checker Trade or something, whatever it's called.
Papa John's.
What's the made up one that we're not allowed to know? The National League.
Papa
John's.
Of course.
We're in the final of that, aren't
When
we?
is that, in fact?
You're not allowed to know.
We've still got a final to go.
Is it Sutton playing? Or
Yes.
is it there?
It's at Sutton's ground, I think.
It might be tonight, but you're not allowed to know.
True enough. You just found out in the morning.
Yeah.
The section for the Leeds fans, which we're not allowed to know about, is called like the Ultras Curva or something. It's got some really weird Italian football hooligan name.
In Sutton.
Yes,
Sutton.
that's right.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well,
that'd be good.
Yeah, that maybe they could make it a double trophy parade. or maybe they'll just do, in keeping with the competition in general, they'll do an open top bus, but no one will know when or where.
It's just on a double decker that goes around Leeds.
You'll just see it going around Leeds at some point.
I think
who are those?
mentally we're all wedded to the title, aren't we?
It is, yeah. At this point.
I am. As much as I'm saying it doesn't matter, I really want it, because I know they're going to do a parade anyway. But wouldn't it be nice to do a parade with that trophy and not that fucking shithouse second place pathetic thing? Yeah.
I say, but the main thing, like 95, 98, 99% of this season was getting up, wasn't it?
I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't win it, really, but I would love it I'd be very happy if we won it.
And I do genuinely think we're the best team in this league.
Yeah.
We've thrown some really, really stupid points away this season. And I know other teams could probably point to that as well, but
let's go through them again. We used to do that on a weekly basis.
There's no need. There's no need.
We can review the season in the aftermath of the season when we have a summer to fill.
Yes, we will allocate ourselves 130 points or something that we should have had.
Yeah, in fact, we'll do that. We'll find reasons why the points we dropped were wrong. I worked out. I think we've got something like 75% of all points available all season. So it's something insane.
I mean, to pull it back to one individual game that would have made a key difference. We only lost at home to Burnley because Manor Solomon slipped. The pitch was just a bit wet. His boots weren't right. Whatever. That game would probably have finished 0-0 if he hadn't fallen over. In that exact moment. So,
our home record.
We would be almost there.
Our home record. We've played 22 games at home. We've got 55 points.
Is that the only game we've lost?
Yeah, we've averaged 2.5 points per home game. It is insane.
Yeah, it's been a good season.
Yeah. And the home record is just, I mean, Burnley's home record is preposterous in the sense that they've only conceded 7 goals at home all season. But we've scored 57. 57.
Burnley are just nerds. Like, there's no joy in that promotion. Even Brownhill said they've bored the way to the promotion.
I think he was probably being tongue-in-cheek, but facing some of the criticism, maybe just giving it a mention.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, like the points we have drawn, games we have drawn at home, we have only lost the one, and we've drawn 4. We've won 17 heading into this.
I mean, before this season, none of us had seen a 7-0.
No.
I'd seen 1 6-0.
Yep.
And that... What was the 6-0?
A Besiktas.
Yeah, right. I think I saw 6-1 against QPR, was that? Was it 6-1? The Brian Dean 4 goals.
Was that 6-1?
Yes, so. QPR was it? Yeah.
I wasn't at that, so maybe it's not stuck in my head.
Games we've drawn at home. Portsmouth on the opening day was just chaotic, and we still had the chance to win that deep into injury time. Considering we equalised after 95 minutes, we still had the chance to win that with Brendy. Elsewhere at home, so West Brom was a draw, Norwich, Sunderland, Bristol, Preston away. Blackburn at home 1-1.
That was the last-minute equaliser.
New Year's
Swansea was
Day
the
as well,
last-minute
don't count.
equaliser.
Yeah, so last-minute equaliser. Yep, next home one is West Brom, which I suppose arguably that was the most drawy of the draws.
And that was off
Probably.
the high of the Sheffield United and Sunderland games, wasn't it?
So what I'm prepared to say is we should have drawn 2 at home. So Burnley was a draw and West Brom was a draw. Other than that, they were all wins.
Cool.
Yep.
Go along with that.
So that's like about 20 wins.
Just need another
22.
Another one will do us, probably.
Yeah, one more. We'll see, is right.
It'd be interesting to see how Bristol approach. I know we're almost not even thinking about the game, are we? But Bristol would absolutely take a draw in this, wouldn't they? Because I'm just looking at them, they've got a 4-point cushion to 7th as it stands.
Mm-hmm.
And a point in this would surely be a good one for them. It might be enough, given Middlesbrough have not been in great form.
And they've got Preston at home on the final day.
Who are still in the fight for relegation.
Yeah.
I'm backing them.
Really?
Yeah, basically
they are on 49 points. And Luton, who are in the top relegation spot, 22nd, have got 46. So there's not a lot in it. And Preston play Plymouth next.
Yeah, we're saying Preston basically thought they'd stayed up middle of March, and then they've not won since. They've got 2 draws since they won in the middle of March. So they're that's hecky.
It's very telling that I've not looked below the top 3 for 6 months, maybe. Well, top 4, 6 months.
One thing that encourages me about this Bristol game is, though, despite their league position, it's been driven particularly by their home form. Like I say, we've done exceptionally well at home with 55 points. They've got 45 at home. They've been averaging over 2 points per game at home, which is incredible going. Away, it's 1 point per game. They're not anywhere near the same side on the road that they are at home. So my spreadsheet had shown that when I was trying to bargain my way to promotion. We are now promoted, but
I wonder if Chris Wilder's got a spreadsheet.
I would imagine that. I think this is what data analysts do, Michael.
Actually, Chris Wilder's not got a spreadsheet.
No, don't believe in him.
He certainly ain't doing it himself. He might have asked someone else to do one, but I can't imagine he's a man for the formulas.
Yeah, like he's had a scam email from Office, pretending to be from Office 365. He's entered his credit card details. A bank account has been emptied. He's angry. He won't go back.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
But yeah, Bristol City, he wasn't really touched on that much in the press, was it? He just sort of said, was very respectful, said what a good job Liam Manning had done there. Under incredibly difficult personal circumstances this year as well.
Yeah, Bristol are as championshipy as any championship team, aren't they? So for them to get in the playoffs is good going, really. I just think they'll always be 11th or something. They're not quite as bad as we were when we were really stuck. We were always more 15th.
Yeah.
They were always, Bristol are more like 9th to 12th is kind of where I think of them.
Coventry are just about hanging on, aren't they, in the playoff, in the top 6?
Yes.
That would be nice for them to fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've won 2 out of the last 5, but they lost to Plymouth most recently. So they're having that final stage wobble.
Get Middlesbrough in there instead of Coventry. I mean, Middlesbrough have got all those ex-Leeds players, so they've got no chance in the playoffs, but just get Lampard out of it.
Yeah, looking at these sort of final round of fixtures, you can almost watch the Stoke-Sheffield game tonight, which I probably won't watch.
Oh, God, no, I'm not watching that.
Championship football, not for me, son.
It'd be really funny if Sheffield United struggle to break them down.
Well, that's what I was wondering, whether Stoke, because Stoke are a slightly more difficult proposition at home than they are away, I would argue, like most teams are, but whether they try and elicit a reaction based on...
I wonder if they'll start with a left-back
I was
this time.
just about to ask.
I don't know if they've got any.
I know, but someone who didn't win a competition.
Whoever that bloke was.
But whether they try, there's a reaction from them because of the thumping, and whether Sheffield United have just given up now because they know it's playoffs.
After we watched the first half of Somerville against that fat Huddersfield lad the other year,
yeah.
I never thought I'd see a fullback have such a torrid half, but whatever that bloke's name was.
It was so good.
he surely having nightmares about that still.
We were really low down in the East Stand because we got tickets in the ballot, and he was right in front of us in that first half. And by the end of the first half, there were Leeds fans around me sort of ironically cheering him on. Like, go on, mate, you'll do it.
I suppose the other kind of narrative that you want to unfold here is that Burnley, having got it over the line, are the ones that start to ease off now, and it's not going to be easy going to QPR. They might absolutely like procession it like we did at Derby last time out in 2020, or it might be a grind. They might not care. You hope that's the case.
They've had less relaxation days as well in between the party as well, haven't they? So.
Yeah, so QPR's home record, 29 points. So they average like 1.3 points per game. Burnley's away record is 2 points per game, just over. So they've got the best away record in the division, I'm going to say. Hopefully, they just feel like they don't need to apply themselves anymore.
I've just, for sport, looked at the Stoke FOTMOB scores, and their starting defence received the left back 3.8, not the lowest actually. They got a 4.8, a 3.5, and a 4. Wow, that was their back four in that game.
What have people? Because we need to do heroes and villains as well, don't we?
We do.
So should we wrap all that up? I was going to say actually that let's just segue neatly into the player ratings for the Stoke game. Presumably everybody scored quite high.
It was very good. I think Pirou might have got a season high score among all the squad. Pirou and Bogle were both nearly a 10.
Wow. So these are the average scores by our TSB Plus members who send them in after a game. We don't even need to concern ourselves with like the affairs of the referee, who I thought was good.
He got a season high score as well for all dickhead referees. So
really?
Good for him. You could tell there was joy in the air that day.
It was an easy game to referee though, wasn't it? I would say.
Because it was pointing to the halfway line.
We need to know about our player of the season. So obviously we can dip into that after Plymouth title winning day. No, there's
a lot of players in for it, I would say.
Harry Gray now.
Harry Gray. I did say that, didn't I, when we saw him on the bench at the weekend? I was like, if he comes on and scores, he will undoubtedly end up with the highest season rating. So he might even have it after the weekend. What did he score? Did he touch the ball?
Harry Gray?
Yeah.
He got 7 something. So yeah, I think he is
higher than any referee.
He is by a mile. If we just taken it from that 20 minutes, I think he could potentially be in the top 3.
He had 4 minutes and 1 defensive action. He committed 1 foul. That seems to be the sum total of what he did, but 7 point something seems fair enough.
Good. I think he got higher than Bamford.
Right. So likes and dislikes. I mean, it's an absolute tap-in, is this one. It's a Joel Pirou style tap-in. Leeds has been great on it. We've just liked everything. The joy of escaping the bastard Champo, as Adam has described it in the comments that were sent into us. But equally, he does balance the force there by saying dislikes the absolute terror of escaping the bastard Champo. Yeah. It's been a lot, hasn't it? It's been a lot. A lot of love for Chris Wilder.
Yeah. He's done well.
Yeah. He's been very, very sporting about Pat Bamford digging him out. I'm glad that he's kind of like, as we were saying earlier on in the week, give it out, you got to take it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, given there are videos of him this season singing Danny Rolls a sausage roll, you can't get too precious about these things.
So what did you like about the last 7 days?
Most of it, really. Well, actually, no, the last 7 days is...
Good Friday takes us back to Oxford.
I was going to say the last 7 days is a longer period, isn't it? No, it's all been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A full week of being really happy and carefree as a Leeds fan. Well, not carefree going into the Stoke game quite, but it very quickly became carefree.
Yeah. It's felt as comfortable as anything has this season, hasn't it? The past week.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these seasons where people will look back and forget just how stressful it has all been. They will see Leeds United 6, Stoke City 0, promoted, and go, fucking hell, pissed it.
Yeah, and it might be that we look at the as we did in the Bielsa year, you look at the end league table and it looks like we strolled it. It didn't feel like that, did it?
It never does, though, does it? I think that's what Rob was saying, articulating very, very well before. It's a real grind. It's really hard.
It's 46 games. We don't have to play 46 games next season. That's the best bit about getting promoted.
I remember when we were there last time feeling like we didn't have quite enough and we had a little bit too much downtime in between times. I'm going to be treasuring it. This time around, I will treasure it because it's nice to just have a day somewhere in the middle of the week where you go, oh, I'm not consumed by worrying about fucking Norwich against Swansea.
And picture as well in an alternative version of this season where we're a month into the future here and we're coming here the day after a playoff defeat to discuss it.
No, we're not.
But we're not.
No, because I would have told you. I would have been in Loch Ness with rocks in my pockets.
That's true enough.
At that point.
But that's still a month away. You're waking up in like a Premier Inn in London somewhere. You're thinking, oh God, I've got to get a train. Oh no.
I liked how Berron described it on the show that we did with him on, I'm going to say Wednesday.
Let's guess.
Some days ago, where he described it as being like after you finish your exams at school and you're in that real sweet spot of having no responsibility. All the pressure has been lifted. You know, like you have all the pressure. You need to do your GCSEs, you need to do your revision and all that. You sit your GCSEs, then suddenly the sun's out, you're finished, You've got nothing to worry about until September. And then you can just relax and have fun with your mates. And it's felt like that. The opportunity just for everything to be still and calm and fun. And that's been nice.
Are you sleeping in beyond 7:30 now or whatever it was?
Yeah, I slept really well last night. I was hit with such a wave of tiredness yesterday. At one point, I was like, this is the come down. Mm-hmm. But actually, I woke up today and went, we're going up.
I felt pretty good pretty much since it happened. Even the day after with the stinking hangover, I felt better than I have.
Yeah.
I was like, because I kind of knew this was a temporary feeling. I was like, tomorrow, I know we'll go to bed and I'll actually wake up and I'll feel all right because the bad things not happened.
Yeah.
Actually, tell you what I've not liked is losing loads of money in this past week. But, who cares? That's what it's there for. I'm not upset about not claiming on my car insurance, am I?
No.
So that's been a positive.
Kicking Tanaka's mentions that as a dislike. The money I've lost on multiple bets leads to finishing the playoffs that I've put on at various points over the last couple of months. Sorry, kids, no Disneyland this year. It's the Albanian Alps for you, which is where you're taking your kids, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Those lucky little sausages. Luca B didn't like West Brom for sacking Tony Mowbray just because he's a lovely bloke. Matt fancied a draw in the Burnley but Sheffield United game, but whatever. It's all been pretty good. I think this has got emotion in it. And possibly, I think, explains what the feeling is all about and why this shared experience is so important and why you've got to treasure it. Jelly said, my dad passed away earlier in the season. I'm absolutely gutted he wasn't there for this, but so happy I got to celebrate with my boy. Circle of life and all that. These days don't come around often enough and you have to grab it with both hands. I fucking love this club. And that's down to my old man, who I hope is looking down or more likely up with a smile on his face. We've done all the purgatory bit, haven't we, by having years and years of Leeds United. So yeah, I think that's really, really sweet.
It's kind of where I feel on the trophy parade thing, or not trophy parade as well. Like you sort of go, is it a bit shit? But then you think,
it's a memory.
Who cares really? Like
it's not for anybody.
No,
it's not for fucking Chelsea dickheads who happen to live in Nigeria on Twitter who say things like finished club and going straight by that. It's for us.
Just talking about, some Man United fans just tweeting about Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not for them.
No, this is for us.
And no one else will remember it either beyond Leeds fans. Like I say, someone might tweet about me meanly and we'll go,
sound.
It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Think what you want.
And I thought, because I've gone back on Twitter and been crowing a little bit from our account this week, getting the bookmarks out. I'm soon going to be taking it back off my phone again because I've actually realised life's better without it. And so anybody else who bookmarks that, and if we do go down next year, I won't see any of it. I won't be exposed to any of it. It's consequence free.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's not that serious, is it?
No, it's only a daft game.
People get cross about it, but you can just ignore it.
As has been reflected in our mood all year.
Yeah,
just a big daft knockabout. Right, come on then. Let's crown
we need a villain.
Ken Bates villain of the week. Yep, took the words right out of my mouth.
Mike
again.
Keegan.
Oh yeah,
the Daily Mail journalist. Fuck him.
Yep.
Yeah, fine.
Yep, that seems fair. For stirring the pot, Farke, getting fired potentially.
Yeah,
not a time for it, Mike.
Mean-spirited.
Grow up. Kitano Baradi Hero of the Week, sponsored by the tuktukclub.com. Bruce is flying in this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from the Tuk Tuk. He's not bringing any Tuk Tuks. Although he did send me a WhatsApp, a picture of the MB Marcelo Bielsa Tuk Tuk today. And what I'm pleased to say is it's front on and it looks like it. Do you remember, have you ever seen like the Herbie movies where Herbie, the car, has a personality? This Tuk Tuk has personality. The light's on the front. There's one in the middle as well. It's like two eyes and a nose. So I almost imagine it talking to me.
I ate my lunch in a Tuk Tuk the other day in Leeds.
It's got a zap.
I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. And of all the places in there, that was the table that put me on. I was like,
nice.
And we'd just come from recording this, and I thought, this is nice. This is nice.
Well, yeah, Bruce,
although I will say, do stay loyal to Kitchen in Pontefract. I'm sorry for cheating on you. It's they're still my favourites.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, the MB Marcelo Bielsa Tuk Tuk has just been taken delivery of by Bruce. So I think his life goal is to get actual Marcelo into that Tuk Tuk. All I say is just good luck with it.
It's a lot to ask.
It's a goal to aim for.
We all need to dream, don't we?
Sunday Times described it as the best driving holiday in the world, the tuktukclub.com. TSB 15 for a 15% discount on your booking. Great fun hanging around in the jungles of northern Thailand with Bruce. And you can still talk about Leeds.
And you never know, you might book it and maybe Bielsa will be there too.
Imagine that.
It's not likely, but you never know.
Hero of the Week, Leeds United Football Club. You did it.
Maybe this is Farke's week.
You think so?
Yeah, he's put himself through it as well.
He has.
What about, is it Leeds United Football Club? They're all hovering there in the background as Farke comes up to receive the trophy.
Daniel Farke's Leeds United.
Yeah. One thing he did mention in the press we didn't talk about is that he's not got a song. And I said in the first half of this show, I hope he's shown some love.
Yeah.
After this at the game, so maybe he gets a song.
Can we?
It'll be Daniel Farke on it.
That's fine. But come up with a song that's got 3 verses.
One Daniel Farke. Yeah, we don't need any he came from Germany. We want to do this at Norwich. Yeah, we don't need the full bio. Keep it simple.
And if all else fails, if that doesn't happen, I want you in the cop trying to get it to catch on with all the people around you. The fire beast.
Oh, it's roaring.
Yeah.
Get a big fire beast, a tifo. That'd be nice.
Yes.
Right.
It's a lot to ask.
It's not. We've only got a few days.
It's not really our style, to be honest. I'm certainly not organising it.
No.
It sounds like a lot.
Fucking admin, isn't it? Right, we'll wrap it up there. Just do the fire beast noise. Thank you. See you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.